Types of Visual Aids by Caitlin Vargas. So our agenda. We're going to discuss what all visual aids contain and what a visual aid is. We are going to discuss Nike and Nike-specific visual aids attributing to their sales market as well as to their target audience and the types of different logos that their specific logo attributes. We're also going to discuss airlines and specific visual aids that go into multiple different airlines, attributing to their logos, their passengers per year, etc. So visuals. What are visuals? Visuals are essential to the world of work, no matter what area of work you are going to be working in, whether that be a healthcare facility, government agency, business, bank, and so on. Your employer is going to expect for us to be visually content. This means that we're able to interpret these visual aids and graphics. Visuals often summarize what a large type of material is trying to break down. So in a column, a bar graph, etc., that's what's going to be within this information. A big, large number of information is trying to be summarized within a much smaller, more readable outcome. There are different types of visuals. There are table visuals and there are figure visuals. There is also business visuals, there is healthcare visuals, there is logo visuals, there's very many different types of visuals. A table visual organizes informations, numbers, or words in parallel columns and rows for an easy comparison of data, whereas figures include graphs, circle charts, bar charts, organizational charts, flow charts, pictographs, maps, photographs, drawings, infographics, many different types of visual aids. And then why are visual aids used? Visual aids are used for a variety of different reasons. Again, they're used to summarize a large amount of information into a small, more readable amount of information. They're used to attract a variety of group, the target audience, if you will, depending on what we're trying to sell, what we're trying to show, what this visual aid is being used for. It helps to, again, summarize a big form of information into a smaller form so that way people look at this visual. It draws their eyes, makes them not read a large amount of information, and sums it up for them, making their eye appeal to this. So Nike. Again, this slide is going to represent a figure. So what a figure is, it includes, again, graphs, circle charts, bar charts, organizational charts. In this figure, you are able to see that it's Nike's revenue from 1988 to 2021 in millions of US dollars. So you can see from 1988, they continue to rise. They have a little bit of a steep hill, and then they continue to go up. So this graph does a good job of telling you that the revenue continues to increase over a year without you having to read through these numbers, through these sales markets, through what their downfall was, maybe possibly through around 2006 when our economy took a hit, which is probably somewhere around this area. This gives you a better idea of what's going on, but allowing you to read a smaller amount of information. It attracts a specific variety of a group because this information is so condensed. Again, this is a large amount of information condensed into a small chart. This shows you that Nike has revenued over millions and millions of dollars from 1998 to 2021 in just a short amount of information. Okay, so now we're going to get to a different type of chart that is used in visual aids. This type of chart is considered a table. A table organizes information, numbers, or words in parallel columns and rows to make an easy comparison of what is going on. So as you can see, this table right here up to the right is a lot easier to read than this table that's right here. So this table right here is much easier to read than the one that we just read. So in this chart, you're able to see that it is footwear accounts for more than twice the sales as apparel in men's product than women's and kids combined. So this chart allows us to see men's comparison to women's, whether that be in America or whether that be in different types of countries. So here we can see that men's footwear sold at a 66% rate, whereas women's sold at 30%. Here we can see that men sold at 58%, whereas women and kids 24 and 18. So men almost doubled what women and kids sold together. Over here we can see that again, sportswear, better for the men, better for the running, better for the Jordan brand. This chart over here allows us to see that men buy more Nike than women and in different countries in a small condensed amount of information versus you reading an article to figure out all of these different numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This would have taken you multiple pages to read, whereas you can just see this verbatim in front of us. So this is different than a figure. Again, this is, in my opinion, much easier to read. Table charts are a lot easier to read than those figure charts that, again, we saw on this last page, both attributing to Nike. But here we're talking about the many different forms of visual aids that companies use. So I chose to do not only 1, 2, but 3 different forms of visual aids that Nike use. So here we're going to get into the third form of a visual aid that Nike uses. So many companies, probably all, have logos. Many things that can transpire from the correct target audience attributed to a logo. That does not necessarily mean age. That could be a group, athletic, non-athletic, those that are in band, those that are more artistic. We are trying to create a target audience. That does not necessarily mean an age group. So Nike, they have done a good job of switching their symbols. So this is the typical Nike swoosh that also attributes just do it to it. But they've also done a good job of flipping it backwards, adding in different check marks, etc. When they are doing this, they're not only trying to contain the specific margin group that they have already been selling to in this market that they have already created a profit of revenue from, but also a new market they're trying to gain. That is what they do when they are trying to switch logos, but also keep them kind of similar, trying to get a new group while also keeping the same group that we've already clearly profited off of. So now we're going to get into airlines. This is a figure that represents airline sales in 2017. So here we can see Southwest Airlines. This airline right here had quite reasonably close sales, whereas these ones down here did not have as much sales as these ones up here. This chart allows us to see sales amongst 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different airline companies in one rather than just going to each of these different companies separately to see what their revenue was and what their passenger rate was for the domestic market travel throughout the years 2017 to 2019. Okay, so again, we talked about logos earlier, and here we're going to talk about logos again. So there are many different airlines, and these airlines all use different logos. So here we're going to jump to this one first, and Delta did a good job of breaking this down. So this whole thing in itself is considered the Delta logo, but this right here is the symbol attributed to the Delta logo, whereas this right here is Delta itself. When we compare Delta to American Airlines, right here would be the American Airlines symbol, this would be the American Airline logo, but this all together is American Airlines. Spirit is just a bit different, being right here would be their symbol also contained within their logo. All different companies, all different airlines, all using different logos. So in conclusion, it is important to have the correct target audience when using these visuals, but like I said earlier, that does not necessarily mean by age. That can mean by group, that can mean by what we are searching for, that can mean by the specific characteristics that we enjoy, etc. It is very important to change up these visuals once in a while to keep attracting new consumers, like Nike did, for example, when they switched their Nike symbol and flipped it backwards. But they're still trying to keep these same consumers that they have already sold to and created much of a revenue off of. They're also trying to gain new profit and obviously better revenue. So visuals, again, they go into many different aspects of all different types of jobs, whether that be financial assistance, whether that be statistics on what you're bringing in versus what you're exporting, whether that be what utensils you need in order to provide specific funds for a business. Visuals go into many different aspects of business and personal life as well.